And of course, speaking about water, well, the Minister of Public Utilities, at least in one daily newspaper, he was both making an announcement, I believe. I think he was announcing the new e-utility platform for the services division of WASA. The whole point was there was a backlog. But then he went on to kind of maybe explain more. And this is a very interesting phenomenon because he was apparently pushing back, but what he was pushing back against was kind of what happened in the past. He's not necessarily dealing with anything, well, necessarily in the moment. Because, stop me if you've heard this before. You have a government service, somebody wants to make it more efficient, and allegedly the workers involved don't want to make it more efficient. And there's implications, or at least it's implied, that the backlog or the bottleneck was being taken advantage of. Basically, you know, give me a little something to grease your wheels and we'll get your application pushed through. Meanwhile, the minister didn't just necessarily kind of push back against that sort of sentiment. He also said that after a new service committee was set up, certain journalists approached him with documents allegedly received from people in WASA calling the integrity of the board members into question. He said the ministry responded to the questions raised and what was supposed to be a bombshell report in a local daily newspaper disappeared. Right? Apparently, he asked the reporter, did the person inside WASA who gave you that information tell you there were 5,000 applications locked away inside that division? Did they tell you that citizens are paying bribes to get approval? Did they tell you those 5,000 to 6,000 applications are costing the economy $4 billion in potential investments? Now, my thing is, I'm happy to hear this. I'm happy to hear strong, assertive language on what, at least from one side, appears to be blatant corruption. But technically, all of these things happened in the past. Like, the timing of it is kind of after the fact. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. How relevant is it currently? What's being done about it?
Did you just say in the same sentence that you're happy about the assertive language, but you don't know how you feel about it?
Overall, yes. I'm happy that he's taken an assertive stance. He's speaking out. And I think, remember, I think last year, at this point, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, when we were expecting the minister to make announcements, right? But then all of a sudden it seemed like he couldn't speak, and the chairman of WASA, and there was a little bit of something in the media for about a week or two, and then everything hush, and then all of a sudden we heard nothing about WASA, and we were waiting, and we were waiting. And to some extent we still are. But now, okay, I'm happy that maybe this is part of the reason why we didn't necessarily hear from you again. Things like this happen. It's bad that things like this happen. I'm happy if his account of the events are true. I'm happy with how he dealt with it. But it's kind of after the fact.
Are you happy with how he dealt with it? Because you yourself are stating that you're happy he dealt with it, but it's after the fact.
No, well, he's announcing. I would have preferred to hear about it then. You know, why the delay?
Because I don't know how he dealt with it.
Well,
so I can't say whether or not I'm happy with how he dealt with it, because I don't know how he dealt with it, just based off of the report. It's not surprising to me that something like this was taking place. It is rather surprising that the minister chose to announce it or to make it public at the launch of the e-service platform, because what it does is that it only gives greater publicity to the why it is we need this e-service platform.
That's more or less. That's putting it better with, you know, the timing of it. Like, okay, what you're saying is fine, but why are you telling us this exactly now?
However, I think this information, whilst still very much valid in the context of where WASA was as a company and potentially where WASA still is as a company, I'm not too concerned. I don't care about it, because guess what? If something has been done about it to try and resolve this issue, then I can judge the minister's timings, I can judge the minister's actions based off of what is to come following the launch of this new platform. So if I don't have to wait 6 months to a year to even 5 years to get my application for certain plumbing and water services approved, if I can get it in a timely manner, then, and it's not costing the authority $4 billion annually in potential investment, as alluded to by the Honourable Minister, then guess what? I could really care less. To me, the mere fact that it's solution-oriented is most important. If he were to come out a year ago and announce this to the public, I think it would have been good, but at the same time, what it would have allowed for is that it would put greater anxiety. What are you doing about it, Minister? What are you putting in place? What actions are being done? And I'll be very honest with you, I would have been one of those individuals on this particular platform to question the minister like that. There is a solution that has been implemented. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it's effective. If not, then we can go back with our questions again.
My only thing is, it might seem as though, well, this is, again, assuming that his accounts are 100% accurate, it might seem as though, well, this is how it should be. You see corruption, you put something in place to stamp it out. Maybe somebody in the media is overzealous. Or, well, the other thing is the implication as to what extent was the person in the media either overzealous and fell down the rabbit hole, or was to some extent friendly to the endeavor. Let me just put it that way. To what degree? But my concern is we don't necessarily see or hear scenarios like this play out quite like this. It more seems like, well, somebody is protecting their interests and an improvement to some government service doesn't actually go through or takes forever to go through. The fact that we're talking about something that might a year, that is relatively quick by government standards, or all things considered. So that's my concern. We should hear about more stories like this. This should be business as usual, but it's not. The unfortunate thing is, to me, it's actually a bit more of an exception rather than a norm.
I actually think that I'd like to hear more from the Minister, more updates on the progress of the transformation of WASA. I hear the Chairman of the Water and Sewage Authority making comments like, this is not the WASA of old, this is the new WASA. And I need clarification on precisely what you mean. Where are we with the transformation of the Water and Sewage Authority? And the Minister has given that update last week, Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I spoke to him and he said within the coming weeks he will be making a further announcement as it pertains to the transformation of the executive arm of the Water and Sewage Authority. So look forward to that update.
Well, again, and it goes back to my one concern was the timing. Well, why announce what went on last year? Now, as you said, it makes the situation look better. If you're kind of controlling the messaging, I don't always agree with how politicians control the messaging, but we'll have to wait and see. At least there is some progress. It's not like other situations where there is none. Moving on, this is more of a question I have. And it's literally, that's what I titled it. Questions upon conferring silk. Because, well, the president's husband and I believe her brother, she had the, I guess you could say, honor, the privilege to confer on both of them, family members, the status of senior counsel. I believe it was yesterday that the ceremony took place. And of course, some analysts are critical of it. Of course, the opposition is critical of it. And I do wonder to what extent should we be questioning it on the surface. Is it just because there's a familiar relationship that it should not be done no matter what the circumstances? And then more importantly, to what extent does the manner in which the opposition leader herself was awarded the status of senior counsel, does that come into play? Because I know it's not a direct comparison, but it's similar.
It is a similar comparison. You see, the thing is, when you are conferred senior counsel or silk status, it should be an honor that is bestowed upon you for your work as an attorney that you've done for a number of years here in Trinidad and Tobago. It should be an honor and it should be a privilege. It just shouldn't be something that is given to you. In the instance of the president actually having conferred this upon her husband and her brother, let's just have the understanding one time. She does not necessarily decide who is awarded silk.
Right.
Right. Attorneys actually put forward an application and to the Attorney General The Attorney General then consults with the Prime Minister and the Chief Justice, and they actually nominate who should be awarded silk. And the President then takes that nomination list and presents the attorneys with this prestigious award. Status, that is. The precedent was set when the opposition leader awarded herself, as well as the then Attorney General, Eleanor Logan, senior counsel status. I thought that was quite hilarious and rather a joke because Kamala Parsal-Bissessar she wasn't practicing law for a number of years when she had awarded that. But that was, I mean, come on, that's close to 12, 13 years ago.
Well, apparently the justification is because she served as Attorney General. This, I just want to make sure who said this. Anna Ramlungan said that it was apparently somewhat of a tradition that whoever serves as Attorney General is conferred silk, right?
Really,
that's what he was reported way back when, in 2012.
By that logic, Faris Sarawi should be given senior counsel status. No, hold on.
Well, I want to get back to that.
Let's not take away from the story. First of all, congratulations to the 17 attorneys who were actually bestowed with this particular honor, and congratulations for the rewards for your hard work. And there might be some saying this morning, congratulations for the hard work that you did given your status of your friendly relations or professional relations with the state. All that being set aside, it does not look good as one of the first acts as President Christine Kangaloo to award her husband and her brother senior counsel status. It really, really does not look good. Should she have done it? No, I don't think she should have done it. But I really don't think she should have.
I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't look good. But I guess on the Richter scale of political bacchanal, it doesn't register that much to me. At this point, it's kind of to be expected. And my one thing is, yes, the opposition coming out against it, I would say be careful, because if it is the fact of you conferring yourself or conferring somebody close to you, well, you more or less have a different version of that story. Yes, you could try to justify it that, okay, somebody with high public office, was what he said, which includes the Attorney General and the Prime Minister, should be conferred senior counsel status. I don't know if I agree with that. Do I want to see the the former Attorney General be awarded senior counsel status just because he was the Attorney General? Given the fact that he had to consult with so many senior counsels, I'm not too sure if that's right. He acted more like a civilian elected official than a technical official. So why give him the honor just for that alone?
Well, honestly, I think the whole nomination process is skewed.
And should be changed.
I don't think attorneys should be nominating themselves. I do not think attorneys should be putting forward
their own name.
Their own name.
No, that is true. That is true.
And I don't think that the Prime Minister should even be involved in recommending who is awarded a senior counsel status. You see, the thing is, what this does, you're saying it's not a big deal in terms of the Richter scale, and to a certain extent, all right, fair enough.
Because of past practice.
But it still is a big deal from Kamala Parsal-Bissessar and Anna Roland to Colin Kangaloo and Christine Kangaloo's husband as well. This entire situation only goes to tell you that, listen, if you know the right people in the right places, then senior counsel status is no longer something that is bestowed upon you. Mm-hmm. Anybody can get senior counsel status.
I think that is the negative. That's the real negative. It's not that it's undermining it in a practical way and removing the objectivity and the independence of the law body, of the legal profession, but it is taking the status of senior counsel and kind of watering it down. Now, listen, the gentleman could be more than qualified. I have no opinion on them whether or not they're qualified legally or not, right? But the perception that it's not necessarily because of their qualifications or merit, but it's because of connections, it cannot be removed, which is why it's a catch-22. Like, what if they are technically deserving? You know, what else? What are they supposed to do? Is the opposition going to give them senior counsel status based on the current system? The system is bad, and yes, it kind of turns the whole senior counsel status as something that's more political than actually based on skill and merit in the legal profession.